Caroline Kisco's with me, Secretary of the Kennel Club, lives in Bury St Edmunds. Caroline, hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Thanks for joining us on the show today. The Limes in Needham Market has decided enough's enough when it comes to dogs in their bar. They're turning it into a nice trendy wine bar and they don't want dogs in there. This is a debate really which has split my audience today. Some, as you just heard there, loving the experience, and others going, oh no thanks.
The funny thing is that we've actually heard from many pubs, restaurants, bars, places that in the past have had a rather closed-door policy. We've heard from many of them in recent years where they've decided to open their doors or reopen their doors for dogs, and they've found that their business has actually shot up. And you'll find that with many of the seaside towns in East Anglia, they allow dogs in most places, and of course lots and lots of people love taking their dogs with them, particularly at weekends, go and sit and have an ice cream or whatever it might be, but taking your dog with you is very much a part of that.
So you would be in favour of pubs and restaurants and bars thinking about this and perhaps opening it up a bit more? I mean, I've had some interesting comments in today from people with, a very, very different view to that. I mean, there's one I read out earlier on. Dogs should not be allowed in restaurants. It's disgusting. It puts me off my food. No different to someone picking their nose over the butter dish.
Oh, that's just rubbish. Well, I mean, that's just silly, obviously. If people want to behave like that, then that's fine. But actually, a dog does nothing except walk in on bare feet in the same way as we walk in shoes which might be dirty in some way. The law states that dogs can go into restaurants, pubs, anywhere, even where they're serving food. The only place you cannot take a dog is into somewhere where they're actually preparing food. Now, of course, we all respect other people's wishes, other people's views, but I think that there is certainly an opportunity, and I can see it in a trendy wine bar. Actually, why would you want to take a dog into a trendy wine bar? But into most village pubs and so on, dogs are generally welcomed, even when they're serving food, because they know that actually somebody that wants to take the dog for a walk in the morning also wants to be able to bring it into the pub at lunchtime. I have different areas for different people. If you don't want dogs in an area, then you section off a part of the pub or restaurant where dogs don't go.
There are a lot of people who would support what you're saying, and again, I say there are a lot of people who just cannot abide the thought of having their Sunday dinner with a dog sitting next to them.
Sure.
Rob says, let me just read out some...
You don't have to have it next to you.
Well, you do, don't you? If you're sitting there and you're eating your meal and someone comes in with their dog and you don't like it.
What I just suggested was that there are plenty of places where they actually do segregate, and they say dogs are allowed in this area and they're not allowed in another area. Now, if you know that, then obviously if you're not a dog lover and you don't want dogs sitting next to you while you're eating your meal, you go and sit in the area where dogs aren't allowed. It's quite straightforward.
Carol's been in touch. Says dogs are usually better behaved than most children.
Perfectly true.
It is getting to the stage where anti-dog feeling is getting out of hand, she says.
Yeah, I think, that's why we started our the Kennel Club Be Dog Friendly campaign. And in fact, we have the awards for the campaign this weekend at our Earl's Court event, Discover Dogs in London. And we will be making awards to all of those businesses that have opened their doors to dogs, and where people have voted to say that this is, for instance, the best restaurant for dogs, the most dog-friendly town, the most dog-friendly local authority, all of those things we have awards for, and people really appreciate it, but they gain business as a result of it. And of course it doesn't apply to everywhere, and there will be places where it's not appropriate or where people don't want it, but actually just automatically saying dogs aren't allowed here because it's a restaurant is just not true.
Okay.
Interestingly, you go to France, you go into most bars, pubs, restaurants, dogs are very much welcomed, very much part of the furniture. Nobody bats an eyelid.
The other question of the morning, Caroline Kisco, can you eat Yorkshire pudding with chicken? It's being debated by the Oxford Union. Chicken with Yorkshire pudding or not?
I wouldn't have thought. I think actually it depends on where you go, but you can eat Yorkshire pudding with just about everything, can't you? Including
the great minds at the Oxford Union are debating this.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's what's the world coming to.
Thank you
Thank you very much for coming on.